Robin.
Hey, let's get Joe Cross in here. Roland loves this guy, by the way. Roland turned me on to the movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. What's up, Joe?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Really?
I saw the movie, and I really, really liked it, sir.
No, thanks, mate.
And it's available on DVD next month, but it's going to be in theaters, isn't it?
Yeah, we're in theaters from Friday in New York.
Friday, okay.
Nice.
I was telling these guys, you were kind of an out-of-shape guy from Australia, right? And,
yeah, if you call round out of shape. Yeah.
And the first thing I noticed right off the bat, because I saw the movie, obviously you filmed that a while ago, you kept the weight off. So congratulations that, because that's the toughest thing. A lot of people could lose the weight, and then they get down to an ideal weight and decide, oh, I don't have to worry about dieting anymore, and they get right back to where they were.
Yeah, I know. It's a real problem. I mean, losing weight fast. You know, you hear people say that it's dangerous to lose weight fast.
Yeah.
It's actually not dangerous losing it. It's dangerous putting it back on fast.
Back afterwards.
How much you weigh right now?
I'm around 230. I got down to 220 was my low.
Okay.
I started out at 310.
310.
Got to 220, and now I've plateaued around 230.
And 230 is where you want to live your life.
When you're at 310, were you making excuses for yourself, I just can't lose the weight? Because it seems to me a lot of people make excuses instead of just going, look, I obviously have to eat less than I'm eating.
I think. Well, for starters, the excuse is I never tuck my shirt in to start with. So you come up with all sorts of tricks.
You'll look good,
right? And if you might know, like the fashion trends have changed in the last 10 years. People don't tuck their shirt in so much, and I reckon that's because of the weight gain
weight
stuff,
problem.
You know?
Yeah.
It's also uncomfortable too.
Yeah. But you start making excuses.
Big fat gut tucked in. That is uncomfortable.
I think one of the things I learned as I drove across your great country was that I never met anyone who needed to be told they were overweight.
Right.
I mean, people know.
Well, let's get into it a little bit then. So you're 310 in Australia, and you get this idea, I'm going to come to America and juice for 60 days.
Yeah. Well,
where did you get the idea for the juicing part to begin with?
First thing was, I think we got to add in that I was 310 and taking prescription medication night and day for 8 years.
For what? I would assume diabetes.
No, I had this thing called chronic urticaria,
that's right. It was
angioedema, which is like a rash. It's like chronic hives. So any time I had any pressure or any touching on me, my body would swell up and I'd get welts, and it was very painful.
Where were they?
Convenient.
Everywhere, wherever I was touched.
So you would scratch somewhere and be like,
someone to shake my hand really, I got the softest hands of any 45-year-old I know because I wasn't able to do anything with them. And I'm talking sex, anything, you actually had pressure. So I had to come up with all sorts of different ways of everything.
And what did the medication do?
Actually, believe it or not, in your penis, there's no things called mast cells.
Right.
So that's probably one of the areas that it never swelled up, unfortunately.
That would have been.
So you just told everyone to touch your penis, and you'll be
that was right. Shaking hands with people.
Fine. So what was some of the side effects from the medication?
Side effects from long-term prednisone are pretty bleak, actually.
Yeah.
You can get osteoporosis, your bones start.
Makes your face blow up weird.
You get a thing called hunchback, where you get these big things growing on your back.
Oh, wow.
Round face, or they call it moon face.
Yeah.
So that's not pretty.
No.
Wow.
So you said I got to do something. So
I gotta do something.
Who turned you on to the juice thing?
Well, the idea about the juicing, sort of, the first step was that I kind of worked out after trying almost everything. I went to the best specialists in the world. I turned over every leaf. I tried everything. But the one thing that I didn't want to have to change was my diet, because I love my burgers, I love my pizza, I love my milkshakes, I love my beer. Jeez. And I didn't want to have to sort of face up to the reality that, hey, maybe this is because of me. So I just said, you know what, I've turned my back on Mother Nature for 10 years, 20 years. And what would happen if I turned towards her and ran to her full pelt? In other words, what would happen if I went to only a plant-based diet, which is like fruits, vegetables, nuts, beans, seeds, legumes, all that sort of stuff that's made by the sun, the earth, and water? What would happen? And then I thought, well, to supercharge this up, I'm going to juice it to begin with. I'm going to actually put it in a liquid form. Why? Because you can get more of it into your system. I don't know if you've seen, if you actually take a juice, you can drink that in a minute, whereas to eat all of that might take 20 minutes.
A while.
I go to a juice store, and it's amazing how much stuff they put in the juicer just to get your drink. Like you said.
It's like a whole bunch of stuff, and get a little juice
without even thinking. They put 2 or 3 massive carrots in, and it's gone. Like he said, that would take an hour to eat easy.
Yeah, that's right. And so, my plan was, hey, I'm going to live on this food until I'm off my medication. That was the plan. And it took 5 months. 60 days of juicing and 3 months of eating the stuff only.
But you came to America to film it for the documentary.
Well, I'll tell you why I came to America is because I'd never made a movie before. I never had a camera on me, and I came from the world of investment and finance and banking, and making bets on other people in their businesses, like investing in VC, venture capital world. And I thought, if I make this movie in Australia, Australians are going to watch it, but Americans, they're not real big on watching stuff in other people's countries. Whereas in Australia, we're like the 51st state. We watch everything that you guys make. So I figured I could kill two birds with one stone if I came here.
Damn, he knows we're all self-centered over here, and we're like, that comes from there. Fuck it. And put it on public television and leave me alone.
Didn't Bad Boy Bubby come from Australia?
Yeah, I think
you know Bad Boy Bubby? See, we watch your stuff.
Oh, really?
You might want to look that up after the interview.
The other big problem with driving across Australia versus driving across America. We got no one in the middle of our country.
Oh,
desert, right?
So city to
would have
city.
been pretty boring, right? Just Joe out there in the middle of the outback juicing up a green juice.
So what's the longest distance in Australia between, like, how far were you driving Australia in the middle of it before you see people?
Oh, there's a couple. You can go like a day and a half.
Oh, with nobody.
You'll see some gas stations, but you won't. It's pretty barren out in the middle.
But from big city to big city, to drive, like, it isn't like from driving from New York to Philly, let's say.
Yeah.
You got a
long haul.
Where do the gas station people live?
Yeah, exactly.
If the gas stations are in the middle of nowhere, where do those people live? I mean, how do they get their food?
Well, the problem, I've got a bit of a rule that you shouldn't get your food for your body, your energy for your body, where you get your energy for your car. Right. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've never seen good food in a gas station.
Yeah, no. Nothing you can juice in there.
Though. It's good stuff in those gas stations.
Well, that's what these truck drivers, these poor blokes who are driving all our produce around the country. There's thousands of these guys out there driving trucks, and they're not allowed to take their rigs into towns to get good food. So the only place they can get their food is at truck stops.
So, 60 Days in America, that's what the film's about, fat, sick, and nearly dead. And what I really liked about the film, and it was a nice twist, you met that truck driver at the truck stop.
Yeah, great guy.
And you talked to him about, because you're trying to educate people as you're trying to get yourself in better shape. And you look at this guy, he's like, he's not going to listen to Joe. He's a truck driver. He means well, but within a week, he's going to just give up on this shit. And wow, this guy listened to you and took it all the way.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I guess I found, I don't know about you boys, I'm sure you'd agree with me, that, telling people what to do doesn't work.
Right.
I reckon we're sick of being told what to do.
Yeah.
Whether it's your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your parents, your boss, or even the government. We're tired of being told what to do.
Yes.
So my father, when I was a little boy, he said, Joe, you want to get something done, you've got to lead by example. You've got to get out there and do it, and if you do the right thing, surprise, surprise, people might just follow. So
he played a didgeridoo.
Yeah.
After words of wisdom like that, you expect that.
So when I got over here to America, the last thing I wanted to do was to tell anybody what to do. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to do like the Forrest Gump thing. I'm going to go across the country like when he ran, people just started following.
Yeah.
So I thought, what if I go with my juicer and a truck full of fruits and vegetables? Will people follow?
I did the Forrest Gump thing, too. I came on somebody's robe, and then I banged a girl who had AIDS.
I knew he was going there.
You going there?
I knew he was going there. Oh, Jimmy.
Well, I'll just say one thing. When you're drinking juice for 60 days, the last thing you feel like is sex. It's one of the
really?
You got to tell you, it's one of the big things that, and if you think about it, it's kind of normal in that the old days when there were famines on, that wasn't a good time to procreate. So for men, when you actually go on a long-term reducing calories and only taking on just juice, it's surprising, like Mr. Happy doesn't work.
But
wow, that's fucked up.
Your energy had to suck. The whole time I'm watching the movie, I'm thinking his energy's got to be really low because you got not much protein going in.
The complete opposite. My energy.
But I don't get that.
Well, it's a funny thing. If you think about what actually happens is that in order to function, we need energy. Okay?
Right.
All right. So the body works in a kind of a weird and mysterious way. Muscle and fat are the energy supply storage system we have in the human body. The human body is made up of 5 things, right? Bones, organs, muscle, fat, and blood. That's it. You've got control over 2 of them. You can control and regulate the size of your muscles and how much fat you got on your body. And you see, today, I look at people, I don't see fat people. You know what I see? I see people walking around with lots of excess energy. It's like a storage system. It's like a refrigerator. They've got it and they're carrying it around with them. So if you don't put food into your mouth...
We call him Fukushima Nagel.
if you don't consume this energy, the body needs the energy, so it's going to go to the storage system. Now, when you actually don't have to break down all of that food you're putting in, you actually have more energy. Because when you eat a meal, about 25% of the energy you actually consume in that meal is being used to break it down. I mean, you guys ever worked out why you can't go for a run around Central Park and eat? You know why you can't run and eat, like when you're actually running? Because all your blood is in your extremities of the muscles making the muscles move. It's gone from the digestive system. So when you eat, all that blood, everything gets drawn down in the digestive system to break down the food. You have a big steak, I mean, that's going to take maybe, 5-6 hours to break down.
A while.
So when you're not eating and all you're doing is drinking really rich micronutrient phytochemicals, tens of thousands of these amazing little chemicals and compounds that really what your body needs to feed all of those cells, then when you do that without having anything of any rubbish or fibre, and I'm not going to say fibre is a bad word, but just for a short period of time, your energy goes through the roof. Now, it does take about 72 hours to break through.
Let me ask you a question, too, because I like to crunch when I eat. I need pretzel. I need something to crunch.
Right.
I know you have to get over that, but don't you get nauseous without eating? Like, I would get sick if I didn't eat at all. Like
okay. When you get, how much do you sleep? How long do you sleep?
I don't sleep very well because of my apnea and my frequent tinkling. But I'd say I get a good 35 minutes a night.
Okay. Well, most people get about 6 to 7 hours a night.
Yeah, I don't do that.
And they're not actually eating while they're asleep. So I kind of liken this to, well, why don't we just stretch that out a little bit? Now I get you, and believe you me, I mean, when I first came up with this idea, I was scared shitless. What's going to happen by me not eating? But I'm actually eating. You see, there's a difference here. I'm not masticating as in chewing, but my body is still digesting lots of energy. I mean, when I was putting my juices, I'd have like 6, how many ounces? We call it milliliters in Australia.
That's
20 ounces?
That's crazy, that milliliter
12
thing.
ounces? Okay, well, I was probably having about 6 times 20 ounces of juice a day.
16 ounces, sorry.
Okay, so that's probably what I was having, 6 of those bottles a day.
Okay.
And I'm actually getting, as we were talking about earlier, so much nutrition that you actually are not hungry.
So wait, you were juicing it up. What were you putting in the blender?
I was putting kale, which, you
I like kale.
K-A-L-E,
Yeah.
right? Kale. I was putting in spinach. I was using Brussels sprouts.
Carrots,
Ginger, apple.
You weren't chewing any apple, though?
Nope. No. I for 60 days, I didn't use my teeth once.
Wow.
I brushed them a lot.
Did your teeth hurt a lot when you started eating again?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you saw the movie, but I actually seriously had that first apple and I bit my mouth.
Oh, that's right.
I forgot about
remember.
chewing. I actually bit my
Forgot
tongue.
how to chew.
I'd give it, I was out of practice.
Do you still juice?
Oh, yeah, I love it. My day starts with a couple of juices every day because, see, I'm not an extreme guy anymore. What I'm all about now is how can we work out a way to move the needle of consumption of fruits and vegetables in your country and mine. So the average American consumes about 5% of all the calories they have in a year is only fruits and vegetables.
Wow.
About 60% is processed food, 30% is animal product, 5% is whole grains and white potatoes, which is basically French fries, and 5% is fruits and vegetables. So I figured, what if we could move that dial from 5 to 10? And what I've tried to do, because I was like down there at 5, and what I've tried to do is sort of punch my number up to 10 or 15, which, it still leaves room for me to have the occasional pizza, still leaves room. I love chocolate ice cream, and I still have that. I went to the movies last night, and I had a Haagen-Dazs ice cream, and I enjoyed it. But this morning when I woke up, instead of going to that down on the street, there was a bagel and cream cheese guy out in the van.
Good stuff.
And, I paused. But I kept on walking because today I've had my green juice and I had an orange juice down in the lobby downstairs. There was a guy selling fresh orange juice.
Do you work out?
I do, but I don't work out like crazy. The one thing I'd love to improve in my life is to try to go to the gym more. I make promises like everyone, and I get there maybe 20%, 30% of the time I make that promise.
So you're pretty much a regular
dude,
guy.
yeah.
That's what I liked about this movie. It was pretty obvious.
Oh, yeah. Look, I think the thing that I'm trying to sort of, there's lots of people. In fact, I would say that most Americans get out of the shower in the morning, have a good hard look at themselves in the house of mirrors, and they're not happy with what they see.
Right.
And I don't reckon that's a good way to start the day. I reckon you've got to start the day by actually saying, you know what, I'm going to get better, I'm going to improve this. And I have found when people have done my reboot, I call it a reboot. All right. And you can go to jointhereboot.com, and we've got all the recipes and all the ideas and the way to start there. And if you go and do a reboot, and about 2,000 people have done it so far. I've only shown the movie to 5,000, and about 40% of the people, when they see the movie, they say, hey, I'm going to start juicing. And what they have found, and on our Facebook page, you can see it, all these people, after 5 days, they just feel good about themselves because they're giving themselves a pat on the back because they've achieved something.
Now, what about waste product? Because I think a lot of people would be. I think a lot of people would be concerned.
He makes scat films.
Okay, so
I think a lot of people would be concerned if it's going to be a problem in that area.
Yeah. What's interesting is that the more if you were to just have fruit juice, which is high in sugar, or just carrot juice, which is high in sugar, you're going to have a problem going to the bathroom if that's all you did for 2 or 3 days. When you take these cruciferous plant groups, now cruciferous means anything that's green, okay, the colour green. When you put kale, when you put spinach, when you put Swiss chard or the collard greens or any of these things in, they're like a magnet. What they do is they go into your bowels or into the 27 feet of tubing that's like sort of below your tit and just above your pelvis. It's all crunched up in there. And it's like a magnet, and it grabs all of that junk and it just takes it out. And you can be on the loo for like 2 or 3 days. I mean, I've had people when they sneeze, they've got to rush to the bathroom. So it is like.
But can I slow you down? Does it take out some of the old feces?
Yeah, well. You see, now...
And is that true that we have... What do they
Dr. Steve said no.
He said no.
Yeah. And by the way, look, I'm not a medical guy, but my family is very medical, and I've spoken to lots of doctors about this.
Yeah.
If you speak to the doctors, they say it's not true. If you speak to a lot of the naturopaths, they say it is.
Yeah.
So I reckon it's probably...
Well, their business depends on it, so of course they're going to say yes.
There's nooks and crannies in there. I bet stuff gets caught.
A little bit here and there, maybe?
Yeah, I bet you.
Yeah, I'd say so, but I also think that we're our best doctor. So, like, if you get some of these guys who are 400 pounds or some of these people that are that big, if you actually get an x-ray of their bowels and their lower intestine, some of these poor people have 20 to 30 pounds of feces still in there, and they're not in that perfect U shape. It's all over the place. It looks like Chinese.
Oh. Do you ever take wheatgrass?
Yeah, I love wheatgrass.
I have to stiff leg walk.
And right after
that will make you shit. Literally, you should be on the toilet with your legs sticking straight out.
When you're eating the
right
wheatgrass.
Through me.
Well, it's like the reason that is that's what's called an alkaline food. So we have foods can be divided into 2 groups: acidic or alkaline. Basically, all the fruits and vegetables fit into the alkaline category, and when that alkaline product hits your system, that's the magnet that just draws everything out. Right. So then your bowels are pretty clean, and like for me, for 60 days on the road, I mean, I was doing number ones every 2 hours. I know a lot of trees have been planted and fed across this country. But as for number 2, that would probably be every 2 to 3 days.
Okay, so it would lower the amount of times you have to actually...
you don't have to go every day.
Look, when you do this, you have a lot of time on your hands. I mean, let's face it, you're not eating, everything's organised.
That's true, yeah.
You've got a few problems with television. I call it food porn. You can't watch TV because everything on TV is a big cheese pizza coming out with it all dripping. And I mean... nightmares. I have nightmares that I was eating.
What about things like health-wise, like cholesterol levels and triglycerides, things like that? Does it help out on that you're not eating?
You have no idea how much it helps out. See, this is what I learnt, which really scared me, is that 70% of all disease to all of us is caused by our lifestyle choices. Just think about that. 7 out of 10. All of these diseases because of our lifestyle choices. Now, that is what you eat, what you breathe in terms of smoking, what you drink, whether you have a lack of exercise. So these are big factors. So for me, I mean, I was like, okay, I've got to switch this around and change this for Joe. I've got to get out there and what can I do? Because obviously this disease of mine I'm causing it. So how can I prevent that? So I guess that going out and just sort of saying, okay, Joe, stop eating that crap and start eating this stuff. Let's see what happens. And so the medication, it took 5 months. That was gone. I haven't been on a pill since. Haven't taken a tablet in 3.5 years.
Wow.
I had knee surgery, so they had to put me under for that. Right. But that's the only time I've had any.
And no hives, right?
No hives.
He cured his own hives that he was getting.
That's pretty goddamn amazing.
Yeah. Another question about the movie, because I'm not going to be able to talk to you again. The trucker, how's he doing today?
Well, Phil Phil went from 429 pounds. I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but he lost, a couple of 100 pounds.
Jesus.
And he did that in 9 months.
Yeah.
Then he went back to driving a truck.
See.
And when he was driving his truck, he worked out pretty quickly that he couldn't get. He started off good. He would leave with a couple of big flasks of fresh juice. So on his way out for like 2 days, juice can last about 3 days once you juice it if you keep it cold and you keep it sealed so the air doesn't get into it. And he lasted three days with the juice on the way out, and when he'd come back, he started getting to his old habits.
Oy.
So he went from about 225 and slowly crept up to 300 again.
Ooh.
All right, from 429. And he said, you know what? Life's too short for me doing this, so he quit his job. He now works stacking shelves at Walmart, and he's back down to 250.
Holy shit.
And he's on his way back down. And Phil, same with him. His medication, doesn't take it anymore. Believe it or not, he had the same illness that I had.
He was taking antipsychotics, so now he's just biting children.
So he's good as gold. And look, we've had thousands of people that have done this. I mean, medication's a big issue. I mean, that you think about, you watch TV, you can't watch TV without them advertising some kind of pharmaceutical, right?
And then the ad after it for the lawyers to sue the pharmaceutical company.
They're the second biggest advertisers behind the car business.
And win for losing.
So for me, like if I come over here and I see that Americans are spending $248 billion a year on pharmaceuticals, and listen, by the way, I got nothing against those companies because for 8 years they gave me drugs that kept me going, right? What I'm all about is personal responsibility and saying, hey, can I get off these pills by eating
by
the
making
right
some
food?
different choices?
Yeah.
Hey, this guy's saying you're a scam. There's no such thing as colon plaque. You didn't say there was colon plaque, right?
Colon plaque.
Yeah, like
No, that's the guy's name.
I didn't say
Dr.
colon
Colin
plaque, no.
puts up on his wall to prove that he went to medical school.
Yeah.
what Joe said
Colin
is
Plaque. Wasn't he the Secretary of Defense at one point? Chairman?
Humpback's got it wrong. The doctors. There's doctors saying there's nothing in your system, but
there's this word called detox that people talk about a lot. Now I've chosen to use the word reboot,
right?
Because detox is what your body's doing all the time. Your body is always detoxing. Like the odors and the smells, and
except for Anthony, he's never detoxed in his life.
That's detoxing. and so like in your bowels, I've spoken to some top colorectal surgeons, and I've said, listen, is it possible you can have feces from like 12 years ago that are stuck in little crypts and crevices? Their answer is no. But then I've spoken to some naturopaths and some people in the colonic world, and they have said, yes, it is. So I figure that in between there probably lies the truth.
The truth. Okay.
The one thing I've learned, and this is really interesting, is that when you talk about what we know when it comes to health and food, is we know very little. We don't know 99% of what's out there. So I sort of come from this position of being humble, that I don't know everything, I hardly know anything, but I'm listening and ready to learn. But your body is the best way to judge whether something is right or wrong.
And you know it works for you, and
That's
know it works for some other people that have taken your advice. So, who's to fucking say? What made you choose like juicing and not like some other kind of...
Yeah.
I don't know what else you could choose. But
you know what? I tried everything else.
Oh,
I
you
went
did?
to witch
Okay.
doctors. I did the mud bath. I did the blood analysis. I did everything. I mean, when you've got a disease where you shake someone's hand or have sex with them and all of a sudden there's an imprint 3 hours later.
Well, Jimmy gets that.
It's not great, right?
Keats.
I was like the bubble boy or the elephant boy.
Can I answer your question?
Sure.
Because in general, vegetables suck, and it's a lot easier to drink your vegetables.
I like asparagus though. I eat, but my nickname is the asparagus kid.
But how many asparagus or spears, whatever you would have to eat?
I do.
It's a pain in the ass. So you took the easy way out, technically, by
you know what? I find it
juicing.
easier. You're right. I find it easier to juice than I do to eat the stuff.
You should see the pile of vegetables that go into one fucking drink. You would never eat that on a regular basis.
I eat a lot of green vegetables. I know it's just good for your blood and everything. That's one thing I do right, is eat a lot of green vegetables. A lot of pizzas.
Well, you talked about earlier about blood pressure and cholesterol and these things. See, the body, if given the chance, the natural state of the human body is to be healthy. It's actually the smartest thing and the most genius thing you're ever going to have in your life. In fact, your body's far smarter than you'll ever be. I mean, if you nick yourself or cut yourself, you don't need to have to sort of send magic waves down there for that to heal, do you? It'll heal itself.
Unless you're a hemophiliac.
But if you keep picking that scab and getting away, you're not going to heal.
A guy that always brings something negative to the conversation.
You want to take a couple of phone calls? Because they're lit.
Sure.
We got a lot of listeners that need a lot.
I was trying to get one that's not drunk.
You need your...
I need a headset.
Need your headset on. I'll tell you this much. After watching Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, I juice once a day, probably.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I feel way the fuck better.
It is good for you.
Way the fuck better.
Back when I was doing Tough Crowd, there was a good juice place by my apartment. I would always, every day I would have it.
No, I don't juice. Maybe I should.
You do.
You know what I do?
It's an easy...
I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, not as much, but a lot of fruit. I like that. But there's a lot of sugar in that. And turkey, things like that. But I should probably try. I want to give that a try because, I work out and I try to get in shape, but there's always this right here.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, that
right
little bit
there.
right there, believe it or not, that goes with the working out. That's hard to lose just on the juicing because it comes off from
that's what I mean. But the thing is, with working out, too, it's very hard to get rid of the lower of the... Like, I have motherfucking abs underneath this fat.
Everyone does.
Well, we all do. We all have muscles.
That's the gag.
Okay, all right, sorry. Let's say...
literal Gyminope.
Let's say hi to James the trucker. James...
Hey, good morning, fellas. How y'all?
Hi.
So we're talking to Joe Cross, who made this documentary,
G'day,
Fat,
James.
Sick, and Nearly Dead. It's going to be out April 1st.
Yeah, Joe, interested. I listen to these guys every morning.
He sounds fat. Holy.
Yeah, you are to see me. I'm pushing close to 400 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm 6'3".
Where's E-Rock if he's pushing him?
I'm big boned. I wear a 15H shoe.
Right.
And I'm a diabetic.
Wow.
And I love fruit, but they tell me you can't have grapes,
Yep.
You can't have this. You can't have
Much like a
that.
brontosaurus liked. Yeah.
And I was just wondering, is there? I can't chew stuff, and it give me the shits. I can't stop ever.
Jesus, you're a disaster. This poor guy.
You're bumming
Big
everyone
feet and
out.
a sweaty asshole.
Yeah, this big boned. What do you suggest for a guy like this? He apparently doesn't have enough time to really...
Shotgun diabetes.
Well, for starters, if you're diabetic type 1 or type 2?
Is there a menu of what all that?
No, he wants to know if you're diabetic type 1 or type 2.
Type 2.
So you take pills as opposed to taking a needle, right?
Now, if they put me on the needle, then my trucking days are over.
Are you still working at Bill Cox's outfit?
So has your doctor told you that it's possible to reverse your diabetes, or has he said you've got this for life?
Well, he's told me that I've had to lose weight, but I've tried everything.
Okay, so here's what first of all, I'm not a doctor, okay? So I appreciate you calling up, but what I would say to this is that when you're a diabetic, you've got to be very careful of just drinking the juice. It's not something that I recommend if it's high in fruit. If it's high in the vegetables only department, then that's perfectly fine to drink. But because you're diabetic, we've got to actually have you eating and drinking at the same time. But you've got to go to what's called an all-plant diet. So you should be able to eat only fruits, vegetables, nuts, beans, and seeds. And if you did that together with a doctor supervising you, and you did that and you sort of made the commitment and you said, right, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it for 2 weeks, and I'm going to see how I feel, what you'll find is that your body will reboot itself and you'll start to like the taste of this food. First 4 or 5 days, it's really tough. But after that, you'll actually start to enjoy it. And that's really how you trick the body into actually thinking that you start to like this food. If you have food that's high in salt, high in sugar, high in fat, when you have a piece of lettuce, it doesn't taste good. But if you've had nothing for 2 weeks, and you're on a desert island, and I flew in with some lettuce, you're going to go, how good's this? So it's about taking the body back to this mindset of rebooting.
So don't juice a lot of fruits, I guess, for the sugar aspect.
No, not if you're diabetic. But it's on our website, mate. If you go to jointhereboot.com, there's a test you can take, which goes through all your history, and we've got some nutritionists standing by there that can give you some information and help you out here, all right?
What was the web address?
So it's jointhereboot.com.
Okay, got that. All right.
All right, and good on you, mate. And listen, hang in there because, you can go from 400 to 220. Phil did it in 9 months. You can do the same.
I'm going to give it a shot, and I appreciate it.
And Phil looked like the type of guy that there's no way he was going to lose the weight. So, Graham in Pennsylvania. Wow. Graham.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
I'm a trucker.
Joe, I just want to ask you, everything what you're saying sounds good, and I wouldn't be opposed to start juicing, but how much more expensive is it to just drink juice?
Cost.
Okay, so good question. When we were out in the middle of the road, and Phil lived in Sheldon, Iowa, and we went to the local Hy-V market, which is a supermarket out there, and we calculated out that
Hy-V market. What is that?
H-I-V-I, Hy-V. It's like
that's a terrible name for a market.
Well, that's the market out there. Actually.
What do you order there? I'd like a fucking sarcoma burger.
and it ended up costing Phil around about $15 a day to juice all the fruits and vegetables for the whole day. Now, if you go to an organic farmer's market, it was costing around about $30, so about double. So that's what it ended up costing. Now, that's, when you break that up over 3 meals, that's $5 for breakfast, $5 for lunch, and $5 for dinner. Not that you juice that way, but if you break it down.
Yeah.
And then also, let's talk about the cost of medication. Let's talk about how you do this. You're going to go less visits to the doctor, less days off, less time, buying bigger clothes. So you can actually save money in the long run. Short-term investment for a long-term gain.
How's Phil's brother doing?
Bear's a classic. Now, Bear lost about 50 pounds.
I don't know what I could say about the movie, but Phil obviously was a big fat guy, and he decided to do what Joe was doing and juice and get his body in shape. And Phil's brother, who was also a fat guy, was looking at Phil like he was a problem, but he wasn't. This guy, Bear. Can I say what happened?
Yeah, tell me, yeah.
And Bear has a fucking massive heart attack while they're filming the movie.
Shit. Wow.
His heart attack cost $58,000.
Yeah, his heart attack.
So juicing cost for a month like $500. So that was,
But he's basically looking at his brother like, yeah, that's for you, and you got to really take care of yourself. We're all worried about you. And I'm looking at Bear as he's saying this, going, look, you're an out of shape fat guy too.
There's no price you could put on your health. That's
right.
what I say.
Let me say
Auntie Aunt says.
Let's say hi to John and Denver.
Who do you say that to? Who listens?
Hey, John, how you doing, mate?
Say that.
Hey, John.
Hey, boys, love you, love the show. Hey, listen, I'm a big fat guy myself. What happens?
Of course, you are. You're listening to this show.
Our listeners.
Skin after you lose 80 or 90 pounds. If you're like 270 like me, and I lost like 80, 90 pounds, what happens to your skin?
It depends on how it's lost, John. And some people, like for example, for Phil, if he stays around this weight, he's been down about 2 years now, and over time, some people need to go and get some surgery done to get rid of the excess skin. Everyone's different. It depends. My skin was perfectly fine. It actually came back in with no problem. But there's a little bit of genetics in terms of how your skin responds after that. One of the things that I have found is that when you lose weight quickly, and it comes off. When you do this, it pours off you very quickly. If you go back to your old ways, it'll come straight back on. And kind of what your body will then do, it starts to store more fat because it thinks, holy crap, we've got a famine on and another famine could come, so it starts to store it up more. So what's really important when you do something like this is that you then go to a plant-based diet for a period of time. Remember, I did 2 months of juicing, 3 months of eating the plant food, which enabled my muscle, my cells, the memory to say, hey, this is where Joe should be. So then the skin was able to sort of adjust, and for me, it worked fine. Now, some people do need surgery when they've been hugely overweight, and particularly if it's all around the abdomen. But when the weight is distributed evenly over the body, you sort of tend to have a better chance of not having to have surgery.
Oh, wow. This guy's 500 pounds from Brooklyn, William.
Oh, boy.
It's Joe Cross.
Hey, William.
Hello, Bill.
Ramon, get this slimy prick a diabetic enema.
I don't think this guy's being serious.
For faggots.
Right.
So, what'd you say?
Ramon, plants are assholes.
What? What do you? Why would you call it? First of all, how did he get past the screener?
Ramon,
Right.
England is a piece of crap.
He's from Australia.
I actually agree. I'm from Australia.
What an asshole.
What a dope.
We don't like England either down in
I
Australia.
need to call them a limey.
England.
You're up by 7,000 miles.
They, 200 years ago, they shipped us off as convicts. We'd never been happier.
Yeah.
Did you crap yourself once while you're on the 60 days?
No, I didn't. But I've had lots of friends that have.
Where you thought it was a fart, and we've all been there.
Follow through. No, I didn't.
Yeah, nothing.
I've had that happen while making love.
There's no joy in that.
And what do you do? What do you do now? Like, you're still obviously living in Australia?
Well, I'm actually on tour in America. I'm going to go around with the film. I'm going to spend the next 7 months traveling across your great country.
Nice.
I'm going to go to towns, and on our Facebook page and our fatsickandnearlydead.com page, we have like the tour of where we're going, and we're going to try and get to more towns. And I want to try and get out down to the south. I want to get down to Mississippi. I want to get down to Alabama.
Oh, you'll see some people down there that need some juice.
Yeah, well, look, one of the things I found which was quite interesting as I drove across the country is I spoke to over 500 people, and I asked them, I said, whose fault is it that you're this size? And, not a single person blamed anyone else except themselves. So I think Americans, they're very much in this position where they're prepared to take responsibility, and they're looking for a way out. And realistically, I mean, it's pretty crazy that I've got to get on radio and make a movie in 2011 about eating fruits and vegetables. We've been doing this for 5 million years. That's what we ate mostly.
I eat a lot of blueberries. I'll actually buy them. I like to run water by the sink. I just go handful after handful.
I hate blueberries.
I love
they're
blueberries.
Too tart for me.
No, but not if they're fresh. They're very.
They're delicious.
They're very good at antioxidants.
Well, I've got a theory that we see in
in
colour. You know how animals don't see in colour; they see black and white, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know that? Oh yeah, they see black and white.
So
So we
dogs
see colour.
notoriously do.
Right? Why do you reckon we see in colour?
Fruits and vegetables.
So we know who to keep our daughters
exactly.
away from. Oh,
Right? And if you look at all fruits and vegetables, they're all grown on plants that you can reach. Right?
Oh, well, that's true.
Well, they've sort of come with us, and what we do is we defecate the seeds out, and we help them spread their love and their growth around the planet. And they help us by keeping us healthy. So, we've sort of gone hand in hand with plants. And without plants, we're in big trouble.
Oh, no, I would never doubt that, sir. That's for sure. What?
I like photosynthesis.
Do you remember that at school?
I do photosynthesis. It's very good.
It's very cool.
Fuel from the sun.
We need it to breathe.
Amazing.
Without it, we wouldn't breathe.
Well, plants give off carbon dioxide.
You know how many times I've said that angrily on a date?
Oxygen.
Photosynthesis. She just looks at you like, what?
What are you going to plan on picking up a camera again? Has this gotten you into filmmaking or?
Look, I mean, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. I've done a lot of things in my life. The hardest thing, forget doing the juice for 60 days, making the movie. I mean, it's boring as batshit not eating.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
how do you come up with this idea of how do you make a movie about not eating fun, right? So it was a big challenge. It was pretty tough.
Did you get yourself an editor and a crew, or did you do it yourself? Or
I came over and I never knew anything about it, so I hired some guys. They weren't too good, so I got rid of them. I hired some other guys.
Oh, great.
Yeah, no, that wasn't
Trial
good.
You would
and
assume
error.
they would know what you don't.
I hired some other guys, and then they were great.
Yeah.
And we ended up with the hardest part about making a movie is actually not the shooting. It's actually when you come back into the edit studio, you've got 500 hours of
And
footage.
now what?
And you go, okay, let's start.
Let's make it interesting and make it linear. And
I don't know whether you guys listen to yourself back on the radio, but I
Never.
hate watching myself.
Yeah.
And I hate
you have to do that 8,000 times.
gotta see it,
during
you know?
that. And then by the time you're done with the product, this happens with music too, and any kind of recording you do, you get so desensitized to what you're seeing, you think. At one point, you do. I think everyone reaches a point going, "This is total shit."
Yeah, it can't be good.
I've watched it like 1,000 times. You think this isn't interesting. It's not funny. It's shit. But then you got to kind of take yourself out of it. So
Oh, no, it was, and we had the economic crisis happening right in the whole middle of all this. So here am I, a finance guy, who's in an edit suite in the middle of New York City going, what am I doing? And I come out to my world, which I'm supposed to know about, and I'm going, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So I had the double whammy of like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
you're still keeping tabs on the finance world, the world of finance.
Oh, look, I do my best. I mean, I think it's you know, I'm a little bit disappointed in what's going on, to be honest.
In what way? Because
look, you know, I think that we've had this situation where we've had rape and pillage of all of the government sector by the private sector, and we've had like all these hands in the till by all these guys, and it's just unfortunate and sad to see that we've got like governments bent over on their knees, like with all this debt, but corporate balance sheets looking strong as ever.
Don't you see though that maybe the corporate guys were running their business a little better than the government was running theirs? I see a lot of waste in government.
I see a lot of the corporate guys went actually into the government to run the government and then do some deals with their mates in the corporate world.
Because I see it the other way around too, though. I see a lot of government people getting their hands in the private sector when they should probably just be left alone to their own devices. I know the bailout was a big thing.
Yeah.
That was a big thing that I'm not sure I agree with totally, but apparently General Motors seems to be, they pulled themselves out of bankruptcy. But
they pay back their fucking stockholders from before, or they don't owe them?
Sorry, bankruptcy.
Exactly.
Sorry, new stock.
Exactly.
New stocks are out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You could look at this from both sides, but I kind of see it more like the government is really intervening in business and our private life a little too much. I kind of like when they're a little more at arm's distance. I do think some of these corporations do need to be held accountable for their shitty practices that they're doing. And when you get an investment company betting against the loans that they're putting out by shorting it, it amazes me that they actually aren't going to prison for that. But I do think the government has gotten themselves a little too involved in the private sector. So
I actually agree with you on. I don't think the two are separate though. I think that I agree with you 100%. But I just feel that there's times that I have seen that you don't necessarily need to have the private sector involved in government business, and you don't need the government business involved in private sector.
But there is a kind of a gray area in the middle where the two have to kind of work together.
Those scumbags shorting that stock, I don't even know much about it.
Oh, no, I know.
Those motherfuckers, they are vultures that literally, it should be legal to shoot them in the temple.
They were giving out shitty loans, and then they were betting against those loans by shorting the actual
the people
stock.
should be allowed to get a hold of you.
It's astounding.
In India, some guy was dragged out, some CEO, whatever, he was like one of those, and he was beaten to death in the street. Yeah. That's the only way to handle people like that.
Wow.
If you allowed people to beat them to death, they would never fuck with people's money again.
That's a little. Wow. No, I think some people should be beaten to death.
Beaten to death.
But that would cause some rift on Wall Street.
They wouldn't do it anymore.
I guess I'm on the side of the little guy, because the little guy, the small business guy, he's a guy who has to go out there every day and make ends meet, and he's battling out there, and he's trying to hire people, he's trying to make a business. And I just think that some of these really big guys that get the special treatment, it doesn't seem fair to me. That's all.
I agree with you on that. Like, I don't like the idea that Obama wanted to go in and everybody making over $250,000 is considered rich and raise their taxes, because a lot of those people, small business fits into that. And you're not going to just go, well, I'll pay extra taxes. You're going to cut back on who you hire to do things, and it's going to put people out of work. But then you get a deal like you see with General Electric. They made a shitload of money and paid no taxes last year. Yeah. And they're saying, hey, these are the tax laws that are in place. They utilize them to the best of their ability, and I guess they wound up paying zero taxes on billions of dollars of profit. They got some great financial lawyers working for them.
I think when you come from another country and you come to America, one of the things you notice here is just
chicks are
your backbone, the backbone of your people. They are an amazing race. I mean, you have the friendliest people in the world here. And trust me, I drove across your country, and I have a very different view of America after doing this.
87%, sure.
They're very friendly, and they're very loving, they're open, and they're caring people. Now, these guys, they believe in the American dream. And what I don't want to see happen is that American dream being shattered. And that is, have your own house, get your kids to college, and have enough money to retire.
But the whole thing is, when you achieve that, you don't want to be then chastised for it.
No, you don't.
Because a lot of times now the government steps in and says, just because you're successful, it seems like they want everyone in debt. Like, if you happen to be lucky enough to own your own house, or even have a mortgage, it's a little property, you got your family in this, and you're not buried in debt, they will look at you like the type of person that then needs to bring the rest of the country up through what you did and your hard work to try to achieve this American dream. And to me, it's vilifying people that are doing exactly what this country was supposed to be, giving you the opportunity, not a promise, the opportunity to do.
I agree with you 100%.
Well,
I love Australia, by the way, and I want to go there so bad. I've never been there, but everybody that's come back from there has said it's amazingly, fantastically great, and the people are friendly as fuck, and it's just great. I want to go there.
Is it easy for Americans to get laid there?
Very.
Because of the accent?
Very.
Oh, geez. No,
I like to go
Australian accents. Guys get fucking...
No, they're used to it, though.
No, I mean, up here, guys get a lot of action.
I want to bring my boogie board there and go to Indonesia.
Please, do it on the reef.
We're a very friendly nation as well. No, you go well down there.
Yeah. We're England's fucking bastard children, so we have something in common,
we have.
You know?
No, we'd love you guys. I'd love to have you guys down in Australia. You'd love it.
Ah, I would.
I want to go down there.
Come down when it's your winter, too, because it's nice and warm.
Yeah.
We should fucking do a show from there.
That would be great.
You should.
We can't even organize a fucking show from the Hard Rock.
Oprah was just down
because
there.
it's the Hard Rock, Australia.
They put it all off her. She
Let's fly all the way there for one show.
One show will come back.
Oprah was.
They even put an O on the Harbour Bridge for her.
I saw that.
Yep.
I saw that last night.
They might do an O and an A for you guys.
I like the O and A. That would be.
You saw
and
Hugh
Jay.
Jackman smash his face into some whites.
And Jay for Juice or Jimmy.
Yeah, for Juice is fine.
For Juice, we'll say it's for Juice.
Hey, hang that off the bottom.
Speaking of Australian, you mentioned the Oprah. What's that place called?
Uluru.
With the red rocks.
Uluru.
Uluru.
Yeah, Ayers Rock, or the Aboriginal word is Uluru.
You hear about this place, in? It's all red rocks and stuff.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But I
Right
guess
in the
is it spiritual?
Very spiritual for the Aborigines. And when you go there, I haven't been, but all my friends that have been say they're quite touched, and watching sunsets out there is one of the most beautiful things you can do in the world.
They say it could be the most amazing place on Earth.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal. The astronauts quite often comment about how they can see Uluru from space.
Wow.
Yeah, that's something that's
Pop
amazing.
up a picture of Uluru, please.
I was there once.
No,
What?
you weren't. No, you weren't, Chip.
I was.
How do you spell it?
I brought
How do you spell Uluru?
Uluru, I think.
That.
Wow, that's cool. Look at that mesa.
But it's like
You see it?
It's a red mesa.
And the rock changes
see
colours
it.
as the sun
Wow,
moves.
that's very cool.
Donald Trump would love to put a hotel right there.
Just mow it over. Just bulldoze it down. And
all he
Put
sees
an
is
elevator up.
Yeah, why not?
Why
Put
is
a
it
juice
red?
bar on top.
he just sees hotels.
Are people allowed to climb on that, or is it one of those keep
they
the hell
used
off?
to be able to climb on it, but the Aboriginals ask you not to.
Why?
Yeah.
There's plenty.
We switched the climbing of Uluru to the climbing of Sydney Harbour Bridge now.
Oh, really?
That's our number one tourist attraction, is climbing the bridge.
Yeah.
It's called Bridge Climb.
Really?
Yeah.
My little
heard
nephew
of
was in
that.
Australia recently. He did it. He says it's just
You're
amazing.
allowed to climb the
Phenomenal
bridge?
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have a breathalyzer before you go on, so you might
No,
struggle.
I'm out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I get knocked out. I used to anyway.
How high up
Don't
is
drink
it?
anymore.
How high up is it?
Oh,
At the
it's
top.
really high. I mean, it's like
They say it's amazing
cool.
to do.
if I had to,
Yeah,
I
that's Red
mean,
Rock.
You
I
hike
would.
up and over the damn thing.
How do you climb the
I'm
bridge?
going to have a guess. You can probably
Your
look
hands
up the
and
thing.
feet.
I'm going to have a guess that it's like I'm going to have a guess that it's 400 feet.
Can you see the bridge then?
You're not
500.
really hiking it. I mean, you're not really climbing it. You're kind of just hiking it.
Walking it?
Yeah, they made it so it's easy to walk.
Yeah.
You got to
By-
be in shape.
By bridge?
You got to be in
Yeah.
shape, and you got to wear a special
you're
overall.
attached.
You can't be afraid of
You all wear the same
heights either,
uniform.
I would guess,
You're
right?
tethered,
No,
right?
you don't. You're tethered. You've got to.
Yeah, this thing, Jimmy. Everyone
Okay,
does it.
yeah, look at that. You're on the big arch of the top of the bridge. Wow, look
Why
at that.
haven't you done that,
Over the
Joe?
Sydney Opera House and everything. You can see
I'd be
everything.
scared of
from there.
heights, to be honest.
Wait, I am too, but how does
I'm
that...
scared too, but I would do that.
Wait, are you tethered to it?
Yeah. Tethered.
No,
to it.
you're
you
just
are.
walking.
You've got a harness on.
Do you know how scared I would be
You're like
doing
Tony
that?
Manero and his friends on the Verrazano. What do you
I would be so fucking scared doing
But it's
that.
a great story. The entrepreneur who came up with that, he said, listen, I've got this idea. Why don't we allow people to climb the bridge? It took him over 5 or 6 years to get anyone interested in the idea.
First of all, how do you insure something like that?
Yeah, well,
That seems to me like, I want regular Joes to climb
Australians
a
are pretty
bridge.
relaxed about insurance, man. We don't get caught up in
That's
that stuff.
good.
You know, you'll
See,
be
that's
fine.
fantastic.
Fine here, your fault.
Very good.
We're fucked in the United States because we got some amazing bridges right here in New York. That would be a great thing to do.
Yeah, amazing
it
thing to
will
do.
never happen in New York City.
No, they can never do anything like that. Oh, that's cool. It
Unfortunately.
gives you those places that you can't do it. Everything here, you
But
got
you have to
go
go all the way
special
down there
places.
to do
I
it.
would be so fucking scared to do that. Well, you're just walking, holding on.
Yeah, it's pretty.
You'd be the person that if I was
did
behind
Did you
you.
not see Gail? Well, she was up there with Oprah, and she was like,
Did Oprah climb it?
Yeah, but she had a panic attack, or not like an attack.
Well,
Gail
she was scared that
yeah,
Oprah
she was
was going to
scared.
collapse the whole thing.
Oh, she's not quite that
Oprah
big.
climbed it?
Yeah, Oprah, yeah, and Gail, they were all up there.
Too bad there wasn't some juice at the top for Oprah. Well, that's another fat.
She went a different way.
Climbed up the
Oh,
side.
the other
Yeah.
juice.
Oh, no, he's,
Oh, I see what you
it's
mean.
a side thing.
You know what? Why don't we wrap up and get the hell out of here?
All right, Joe.
Because it's coming up.
Joe, I really did enjoy this movie.
Absolutely.
And, Roland,
I enjoyed the interview. I got to see the movie.
Yeah, Roland was a big fan, and believe it or not, Roland is juicing because of your movies. He's lost a few.
Yeah, he looks good, Roland.
His brother has lost a few.
He's juicing Twizzlers and
I believe
Snickers
Troy
bars.
was a closet juicer already here in the.
Well, he's a closet, a lot of things.
Oh,
Right,
boy.
okay.
A lot of
Who,
things.
Troy?
Yeah, he's got a lot of closet things. He's got a lot of closets.
He rubs the pulp in his hair when he's done. It's wonderful.
I don't even know what that means because I don't
It's
feel
just
like going
pulp
to HR now. I was just making a joke. I don't even know what the fuck Troy's up to. But he's juicing, yeah.
Hates ghosts.
Joe Cross, it was a pleasure. Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead in theaters across the country April 1st. Will be available on DVD next month. And one last endorsement. You got me with the end of the film there, Joe.
Hey.
You got me with the
yeah.
yeah,
It's a good ending, isn't it?
Yeah, you got a good ending for your film, and you got
ruin it.
You got me with some teary eyeballs. I'm embarrassed to say that, but you got me.
Oh, I
Joe.
appreciate that. Yeah, it's
Joe.
a pretty the theater. They do cry. So
They do on that scene.
It's an inspirational, motivational,
It is.
uplifting film. So we feel that there's room for that in the world right now.
You did all right, man. Come back and see us.
I will.
If you ever
I loved it. It was great.
come back this way.
Screw that. I want to go down under.
Well, come
Yeah.
down. Yeah, come down to Australia next
Damn.
summer.
You got money? Can you
I'm
fly
not.
us in for free or what?
I'll talk to some mates of mine.
Let's work,
Yeah, there you
I
go.
got friends in high
yeah,
places.
let's work this out.
Yeah, I'd
get
love
on
to
a
go.
flight.
Very cool. Thank you, man.
Okay,
right.
thanks, guys. I
Great.
appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And I think we're done.
Yes.
Great, man.
All right, man. We'll see you
Can't
guys
wait.
tomorrow.
Rob it, Rob it, Rob it. Tell him, Fred. I invented everything.
Gregorio!
Antonio!
Amy.